All right then. I found out something about this website. You got to go and do it the hard way because they do not want you to see what's coming. Oh no, I got. Alright, commercials
There's something strange about this Chinese spy balloon that just got shot down, and nobody seems to be talking about it.
Yeah, might not even be a Chinese spy balloon.
Yucca, the first of the 3 high-altitude shots.
If you look through some of my earlier videos, you'll see President Bill Clinton admitting to radiation research on the American public.
Was prepared and launched from the flight.
I gotta break it up, otherwise this app will go dark and I'll lose everything. Again, Chinese run, I'm telling you again.
Deck of the aircraft carrier USS Boxer.
Oh, I'm gonna be interjecting like a motherfucker in here.
All of Yucca's blast and nuclear radiation instrumentation and a portion of the thermal instrumentation were concentrated in 5 canisters suspended below the weapon at intervals out to 3,000 feet. These instruments were designed to be activated prior to burst time by telemetered commands. At 1125 hours on 28 April,
The United States government has been doing all kinds of shit against the U.S. population. Look into Operation Northwoods. They were going to create a war with Cuba.
when the Yucca balloon
Also, you can look into, Operation Popeye for our skies.
was released. The USS Boxer was operating about 90 nautical miles northeast of Nan Island, Bikini Atoll, maintaining a deck wind velocity of near zero. 2.5 hours later, 1,440 hours, at an approximate...
Did I mention Bill Clinton admitting nuclear radiation tests on the American people?
Approximate altitude of 85,000 feet. Yucca was detonated by radio command signal.
Where he apologized to the American people in 1995.
Failure of the telemeter command transmitter to activate the canister instruments prior to burst time.
Fuck you, China, and fuck you. I've got to find a new app for screen sharing because this sucks.
Resulted in almost complete loss of data from the balloon dragline equipment.
Yeah, I can't even get a full screen anymore like I used to. Fuck you. You think I'm kidding? Pay attention.
In the 1950s, the United States government started testing nuclear devices detonated from balloons. Enter Project Yucca, the balloon.
By the way, we've been using balloons since the Civil War. You can look that up. You got to do a little bit of research, people. A little bit. You got to do some footwork, okay? I can't bring you everything. I'm only one person.
Nuclear detonation test as part of Operation Hardtack. Quote,
God damn,
Yucca was the
people are
code name of the
stupid.
first unique high-altitude test of a nuclear device ever carried out by a stratospheric balloon. The main goal of the United States
You get
Department
what
of
you
Defense and Los
deserve.
Alamos Scientific Laboratory was to study the effect of the detonation of a W-25 air defense warhead at high altitude as part of the developmental work of an anti-ballistic missile. This test, along with 2 other exo-atmospheric detonations, performed using rocket-borne warheads of a megaton scale codenamed Teak and Orange, were included under Operation Newsreel as part of Operation Hardtack. As occurred in most nuclear tests, it was necessary to set up a series of monitoring stations and instrumented vehicles to retrieve the
Teak and orange. Now, we already know orange is what? 30, 31? What the hell is orange? Oh, What is O? I don't know. 17.
Data at the moment of the explosion. The measurements of the electromagnetic pulse generated by the blast was performed by the Army Signal Research and Development Laboratory from 2 stations located at Wotho and Kusel, approximately 100 miles and 460 miles from Bikini, respectively. Balloon flight testing for Yucca began in 1956 at various locations in the United States, like Vernalis Naval Air Station in California, Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico, and Goodfellow Air Force Base in Texas. In all, a total of 76 balloons were launched in preparation for the event. And on the morning of April 28, 1958, the USS Boxer departed from Bikini to the launch point. After the bomb was assembled and armed, the balloon was released at 11:25. During ascent, the nuclear device was separated from the balloon at a distance of 568 feet by a hydraulic load-lowering device. And the measurement instrumentation was additionally deployed along a nylon line at specific intervals totaling 3,000 feet below it. At 12:50, the balloon reached a floating altitude of 85,000 feet, and finally at 14:40, the nuclear device was detonated by radio command in a point located 85 miles northeast of Inuitak. The device produced a yield of 1.7 kilotons, a small amount for the standard of the times. The fact that an electromagnetic pulse is produced by a nuclear explosion was known since the very first days of nuclear weapons testing. But the magnitude of the EMP and the significance of its effects were not realized for some time, according to the data published in the final report of hardtack, which was declared.
A EMP is an electromagnetic pulse. It will knock out all the electricity everywhere across the United States. Look it up.
Classified several years later, Yucca provided the first indication in United States testing that high-altitude EMP could be more than 100 times as intense as a low-altitude EMP. So basically what this article...
Fuck the potato administration that we have in place right now. The guy's a fucking moron. He can barely hold a sentence together. Barely. At best.
is saying is that the United States tested a nuclear device, a very small one at that, on a balloon to measure the effects of the EMP. And what they found was when an EMP is produced or a nuclear device is detonated in high altitude, it creates a pulse that is 1,000 times stronger than the low altitude EMP. Now, what would happen if an EMP actually hit America? Well, according to this report, it doesn't look very good. In fact, a congressional report states that, quote, an EMP attack would kill 90% of all Americans. 90%.
90% of all Americans. Are you fucking paying attention yet?
Quote, in a U.S. House of Representatives hearing on Thursday, members of the recently defunded EMP Commission informed Congress of the devastation an electromagnetic pulse attack could inflict on the country. In a commissioned report, former EMP Commission Chairman William Graham and its former Chief of Staff Peter Vincent Perry referred to North Korea using an EMP as a doomsday scenario. It could use its demonstrated satellite launcher to carry a nuclear weapon over the South Polar region and detonate it over the United States to create a high-altitude electromagnetic pulse. The result could be to shut down the electric U.S. power grid for an indefinite period, leading to the death within a year of up to 90% of all Americans. 90% of Americans. Think about that. And what we just saw flying over our country could be a precursor to this exact scenario.
Yeah, and what if it's done by our own country? Oh, look at this cool magic prop. Look, I gotta let the commercials play through because I really don't have a choice, but as soon as I can exit from it, I will.
Do you want to feel safer when you're out on your own late at night? Wish you had a self-defense tool that you could carry around in your pocket?
Yeah, it's called a gun.
On March 26, 2019, President Trump signed Executive Order 13865, coordinating national resilience to electromagnetic pulses, which establishes resilience and security standards for the U.S. critical infrastructure as a national priority initiative. EO 13865 states, quote, "An electromagnetic pulse, EMP, has the potential to disrupt, degrade, and damage technology and critical infrastructure systems. Human-made or naturally occurring EMPs can affect large geographic areas, disrupting elements critical to..."
Naturally occurring EMPs are called a coronal mass ejection, which supposedly comes from the sun. EMPs don't come from the sun. Those are basically man-made. And I can argue with all the fucking top scientists on this. Fuck you.
The nation's security and economic prosperity, and could adversely affect global commerce and stability. The federal government must foster sustainable, efficient, and cost-effective approaches to improving the nation's resilience to the effect of EMP.
Shit, I barely graduated high school, and I know more than some of these dipshits that are in power. Holy crap. That's pretty fucking scary, don't you think?
This is the report of the Commission to Assess the Threat to the United States from an EMP Attack. Volume 1 is from 2004. Now it's pretty long, so I'm just going to show you some of the highlights. Quote, "The nature of EMP threat. High-altitude EMP results from the detonation of a nuclear warhead at altitudes about 40 to 400 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The immediate effects of EMP are disruption of and damage to electronic systems and electrical infrastructure. EMP is not reported in the scientific literature to have direct effects on people in the parameter range of present interest. What is significant about an EMP attack is that one or few high-altitude nuclear detonations can produce EMP effects that can potentially disrupt or damage electronic and electrical systems over much of the United States, virtually simultaneous at a time determined by an adversary."
But I think most of us who are awake already understand that.
Now this figure here shows a EMP detonation above the United States, above Chicago, can take out all electrical power on the east coast of the United States. And I'm not just talking about the lights shut off. I'm talking about all electrical systems are fried and permanently disabled. Each critical infrastructure...
That includes your water to your house, your electricity to your house. There will be no cars driving on the streets. There will be no trash trucks to pick up your trash. You will be literally fucked.
In the U.S. is dependent upon other infrastructures, and it has a little diagram here showing you how every bit of this country is interlinked and relies on each other for success. All of the critical functions of U.S. society and related infrastructures, electric power, telecommunications, energy, financial, transportations, emergency services, water, food, etc., have electronic devices embedded in most aspects of their systems, often providing...
Shame I only got 22 people watching my channel now. Hey, I do thank you for that. I had 5,000 at one time on my original channel. Then I went down to 400. Then I went down to 300. And then bang, I got slapped with some kind of copyright strike. And yeah, here I am with all you who have managed to stick with me through the years.
The United States could collapse the nation permanently. And what just happened now with this balloon should be an eye-opener for everybody. Food infrastructure. Quote, "EMP can damage or disrupt the infrastructure that supplies food to the population of the United States.
And I know there's a little snitch on my channel. And guess what? We're going to find out who you are. Yeah.
Federal efforts to better protect the food infrastructure from terrorist attack tend to focus on preventing small-scale disruption of the food infrastructure, such as would result from a terrorist poisoning some food. Yet an EMP attack could potentially disrupt the food infrastructure over a large region encompassing many cities for a protracted period of weeks to months. I mean, if you actually think about it, if an EMP was to detonate over the United States in the center, or multiple, we would be facing an all-out collapse. There would be no water, there would be no food, there would be no gasoline, no cars driving. And if your car did somehow make it through the EMP, like if you have an older car or something, how are you going to fill up your gas?
Praise the Lord, I got an older car, and I'll tell you how I'll fuel the motherfucker. I'll throw a line down inside the gas fucking hole late at night after I take out the guards, and I will siphon the shit out until I got a full tank.
Gas tank. So basically, you're stuck with what you have at that exact moment when it happens, with millions of people who are going to be hungry and thirsty and trying to find a way to feed themselves. So what do you think about this? Do you think this Chinese balloon was actually a spy balloon? Or do you believe what the Chinese say, that it was a weather balloon? Or do you think it was some sort of nuclear?
No, I believe it was another U.S. balloon that accidentally got noticed by somebody. That's what I think.
Device carrier that was meant to test the waters, so to speak, and
Welcome to the surveillance state.
see how far it can go before getting shot down. I want to know your opinion on this whole situation. Please put it in the comments below and let me know how you feel. And I want to thank you all for watching this video. And until next time, God bless you all.
Amen, brother.